Hey everyone, great to see you again. I want to jump right in. NXT Vengeance Day from Saturday, February 4th. What a great show this was. There were a lot of really good matches, some title changes, some title defenses. Let's jump right in with the first match. Wesley defeats Dijak. Wow, what a banger. This match, I could have watched another 25 minutes of these guys go. They kept this going just on and on and on. No rest. These guys put everything out there for you. There were some awesome spots in this match. Now, I mean, Lee is on a great run, and honestly, Dijak has no ceiling. At some point, both of these guys are going to be on the main roster tearing it up. It's a shame they're not there now because I would love to see what they could do right now. There was too much action to describe in this banger. It's amazing. But we had at the end we had a little bit of interference from Stax and Tony D'Angelo. Dijak hit them with a moonsault. For a guy his size, man, can he move? But that that set up the end, and it's kind of a shame. I hate seeing interference. It bothers me. But happy to see that Wesley keeps the title. I'm kind of curious where Dijak goes from here. But wherever he goes, maybe he gets a main roster call up. I think he's going to do a hell of a job because the guy is just special. He really is. He's got everything you look for with size, speed, his agility, and he can put on a great match and tell a story in the ring. He's a future real superstar. Uh, Next up, we got Kiana James and Fallon Henley defeat Caden Carter and Katana Chance to become the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. This match was pretty good. It's fun. I haven't gotten a chance to see much of either team. I know James and Henley are normally heel and face. They're not usually on a team. Came together, looked very good. This match wasn't. Let's see here. It wasn't perfect, but that's not what I was looking for anyway. There was actually a lot of tag team moves in this. I didn't expect that, especially from Henley and James. You know, it kind of bothers me that it seems like this was almost thrown together last minute. I know it wasn't, but it almost had that feel. Uh, you could see that there was a little bit off here and there, but overall they did such a good job. Uh, when the face and the heel team up, because we've seen this before in the past, it creates a great dynamic. You get a lot of different spots where they butt heads, but once they win and they start getting used to each other, they can become actually a very good team. The one spot in particular that I remember after watching it a couple times, uh, you had one, I believe, holding Katana Chance and the other going to hit her, but she was saying to grab her hair, or she was grabbing the hair, and she wouldn't hit her because her partner was grabbing the hair. That's neat. You see one starting to become a little more of a heel, and you see the other one ends up starting to become a little bit more of a face as they go. And they may end up passing like ships in the night and switch spots, heel and face. It'll be kind of neat to see how this progresses. I'm looking forward to the response on NXT on Tuesday night to see where this goes. My guess is Carter and Chance are going to be a little unhappy with the results, especially because at the end you had a little bit of cheating, and I don't think the other one doesn't realize it, but there was a spot go for the pin, and you had the heel on the outside grabbing the feet, keeping them down. There's the 1, 2, 3. So I'm kind of wondering Carter and Chance if they're going to switch to a heel team, and then you see the other team become more of a face team. That'd be a nice switch in dynamic, especially if they have a rematch. Next up, now this is the match I really wanted to spend a little bit of time on. So I've been watching, Carmelo Hayes and Apollo Crews for a while now. The two of them are incredible. No title on the line here. It was just a 2 out of 3 falls match. And I mean, these two, Apollo Crews, when he first got called up to the main roster, he was called up way too early. The man had not developed his character fully yet, and his mic skills needed some work. You could tell as he went, he got more and more comfortable. He still wasn't quite where I think he even wanted to be, but he was getting much more comfortable as he went. Carmelo Hayes, he has no shortage of mic skills, and his in-ring work is impeccable. Now, I'm not sure if this is part of the story or if Apollo Crews got on someone's nerves backstage, but Crews loses 2-0, and you don't see it all that often. Usually, you see the three falls in the match, but I'm guessing they wanted to make a statement with Carmelo Hayes probably challenging Braun Breaker at at the NXT pay per view preceding WrestleMania. So my guess is that's going to be a real good match. So first fall, there was a lot of technical wrestling in this. There wasn't a lot of big moves. There was a couple, but they went with a lot of mat work and they were excellent. They kept this pace going. Reversal after reversal. I really do love seeing reversals, especially pins. Small cradle, reverse, reverse, reverse. Each keep counting until both kick out. It's always fun to see that kind of stuff. Uh, Mellow at the end. It didn't look off. They looked a little slow, like they were making sure they hit it perfect, and they did. But at the end, Mello gets the tap out from the crossface, and it looked like Cruz tapped out fast. I'm not sure if he actually got hurt during the match. We'll have to see how that develops. But he actually looked like he went down pretty quick. I don't know that he was probably supposed to sit in that at least a little bit longer, unless he got hurt on the fly and they changed something. But the first fall, there was a lot of great stuff. Second fall started slow. Absolutely expect that. You have two guys that literally just went at each other for, I think that first fall was a little over 10 minutes, probably a little longer. I don't remember the timing of it exactly. But man, they put everything out there for people. Now, like I said before, I'm not a fan of interference. I like seeing two guys go at it and the better man wins. Uh, Trick Williams on the outside, he was doing his thing as always. He went as the ref was distracted, pulled down the top turnbuckle in the corner, exposing the metal bolt, and it was reversed, which was it's always nice to see that. I hate seeing a bad guy get away, but Mello went into it. Funny enough, it didn't seem to affect him. Uh, you had uh, Apollo Crews hitting his German suplexes, which I love to see, and then a reversal from the third German suplex from Hayes. I also love Apollo Crews does this one of his signature moves, the press slam into the standing shooting star, or I'm sorry, standing moonsault. He's so good and so athletic for a guy that's as strong as he is. I would love to see him get another run on the main roster. I'm sure he will at some point. I'd like to see him get a run with the Intercontinental Championship. I think he would do well holding that for a while. Give him 6 months, 8 months to hold that and show that he can be, that nonstop worker that you need holding that title. Unfortunately, at the end, like I said, there was interference, but you did see the return of Dabba-Kato. He came back to try to help Cruz, but the interference from Trick Williams, it was just too much. Cruz didn't seem like he was all there. He kind of got distracted by the whole thing, and Mello catches him. You have the 1-2-3. Mello wins 2-0. Great match. And at the end of this, I'm not 100% sure what they're setting up. I guess you're going to see this on Tuesday. Dabba-Kato gets in there and tries to help Cruz, gives him a hug, and then the eyes get real big, and then he puts Cruz down. Dabba-Kato looks like he could be a star. He moves real well. His power moves look great. Guys his size usually at least get a shot, and honestly, the man deserves it. He's a good sized guy, and he seems like he's getting better. I'd like to see what he does having a mouthpiece with him. I don't know how great his mic skills are, but I would like to see him have somebody in his corner to do the talking for him so he could be that silent monster and then just get in the ring and maul guys. But anyway, we're going to move on. Next match. You want to talk about chaos? Woo! I love chaos, especially this kind of stuff. The only complaint I have about this tag team match, I wish it would have been an elimination match. I honestly believe stuff like this works better as an elimination match because then you can break down the action as it goes. It started out really well. You have Gallus, New Day, Pretty Deadly, and Chase U all vying for the NXT Tag Team Championships. New Day were the defending champs. It started out pretty well. You had a couple tags in and out from different teams. Nothing super special. You had one very funny spot. I can't help but laugh at this every time I think about it. Kit Wilson's getting chopped. Every time somebody else tags in, they hit Kit Wilson with a chop. Pretty Deadly's wearing the wearing the open chested just sleeves. They look kind of hilarious, to be honest with you. But he starts yelling after the last chop. He just said, "Stop chopping me," and starts pointing at everybody that was chopping him. These guys, they do remind me a lot of Breezango. They're kind of filling that role as funny but super talented. Uh, it's crazy. Once it broke down, there was this neat pinning attempt where all the teams, everybody from each team jumped in to stop the pin attempt. And the other thing I remember seeing about this match while I'm watching it, I'm hearing Booker T, and all he can do is talk about how good Pretty Deadly looks. I'm pretty sure he's in love with them. But be that as it may, there was a nice spot on the outside. You've seen it on the screen where Andre Chase suplexed Kit Williams onto everybody on the outside. Chase, he got a lot of really good pop tonight. I'm pretty sure they were saying they're in his hometown in Charlotte, North Carolina. Great match. In the end, Gallus is just too much. Kofi got knocked down on the outside by Pretty Deadly. That left Xavier Woods by himself, and Gallus put him down for the 1, 2, 3. New champs. And Gallus, they were, if I remember correctly, in NXT Europe, or I forget what it was. I can't remember. I don't think it was called NXT Europe, but they were the longest reigning tag champs there. And it'd be nice to see them have a real long run here as well because they're an excellent team. Mark Coffey and Wolfgang are they're two good tags, two good guys making up a good tag team. So your new champs, Gallus, and we'll see where that storyline goes. I'm sure you're going to see at least one of those three teams, maybe New Day, getting a rematch. Maybe you'll see a ladder match in there for the tag championships. But this was an excellent match. Moving on, this was the match that I was a little. I don't want to say it was bad. It wasn't a bad match, but you could tell things were a little bit off. I don't think it was intentional. There was a couple spots in this where Roxanne Perez, her height hurt her a little bit. She went for the roll up. She was trying to grab, I think it was Gigi Dolan to roll her up, and she had a hard time reaching her. Because Gigi Dolan's a little taller than she is. Actually, I think her and JC Jane are both a little taller. But this was the Toxic Attraction Implosion match. So Roxanne Perez defeats Gigi Dolan and JC Jane in a three-way championship match for the NXT Women's title. Roxanne Perez has a lot of talent. She's still developing, but she has a lot of talent. She's pretty good cutting promos. Looks like she's still kind of finding her way, but her nickname, the Prodigy, it's true. She is. She has a lot of good moves that I hadn't really seen Roxanne Perez much, but you can tell she is really coming into her own. You can just see her comfort level getting more and more. The few times I've seen her, she's gotten better and better. But I have to say they looked like they were a little off here and there. They weren't exactly bad. They didn't mistime anything. It looked like they were just uncomfortable with each other. And I think that's more a product of them not being used to three-way matches and how to go about timing things. That's something they'll figure out in the future. That's not a bad thing. That's just a learning experience. But the match itself, excellent, excellent match. They really did, try to do something for everybody. They had a Toxic Attraction trying to cooperate in the beginning. They showed them implode a little bit. Then they showed them get back on the same page. They had JC Jane accidentally take out Gigi Dolan on the floor, and then Gigi saved Roxanne Perez from the pin by pulling JC out. Now they went back and forth here and there. You had a couple one-on-ones with Roxanne Perez versus each of them at a time, and then you had JC and Gigi had about 30 seconds of one-on-one time before Roxanne got in and started trying to put them both down at the same time. She did moves running from corner to corner, real nice. Dropping my pen. She did a great job of keeping the intensity up. There wasn't a lot of rest holds in this. That's the one thing I've really noticed with NXT. They do a great job of keeping these matches moving. especially since a lot of the competitors now they're moving towards that smaller. You'll still see the bigger guys that they have, but they're moving towards that smaller, more athletic, higher wrestling rate uh, performers. They all did a great job. It was really nice to see them get this spotlight. And at the end, in the end, Roxanne Perez she puts Gigi Dolan through the table on the outside from the second turnbuckle, and then she hit a super pop rocks for the finish. And we'll see what happens, with Toxic Attraction on Tuesday. My guess is this story isn't finished between the two of them. They're not just going to patch this up because there were some spots in this. Gigi pulling JC in the way of a baseball slide. JC hitting Gigi on the outside with a front flip. Good match. Nice to see them setting up the future. It's not just about this match. It was excellently done. So we have to move on to the next match, which I was really curious to see what was going to happen. So Grayson Waller, I've been watching him for a few years now. He's gone from being just a guy that does interviews and you see him wrestle here and there to a guy that's really come into his own. I really, really think he's going to be a future champ. I think he has a high ceiling as a heel, not so much as a face, because he can do interviews too. The guy has no shortage of mic skills. Braun Breaker. I mean, what can you say about this guy? He's a combination of Rick and Scott of the Steiner brothers. It's funny because I know Rick's his dad. He look he looks more like Scott. He looks more like Big Papa Pump. Uh, he hit all the Steiner signature moves with the Steiner line, with the catch, power slam. He even hit a Frankensteiner from the top rope, which was awesome. I love seeing that stuff, man. I remember watching the Steiner brothers when they were, first coming up. And I'm that old at this point. They were fun to watch. But it's nice to see all those moves coming back into style. Braun Breaker retains, against Grayson Waller. In the end, you had Grayson Waller going for a high flying, uh, internet worthy finish, but by the time he got to the top, he stood up. Braun was already getting up. You can see in the picture that's on the screen. He hit him with a suplex from the top of the cage. Not the top. Braun was still on the top rope, so it's just a regular superplex, but he pulled him in from the top. And Braun speared him out of his boots. The finish was pretty nice. Braun hits a spear better, maybe better than Roman Reigns. I think Roman Reigns pulls off a little bit more. Braun hit this hard, and Grayson saw it well. And you get the 1, 2, 3. Braun Breaker retains against Grayson Waller for the NXT Championship. Carmelo Hayes comes out as Braun Breaker's at the top of the cage celebrating. So it looks like that's what you're going to get for the pay-per-view that precedes WrestleMania. This was a great contest too. Grayson Waller, he got it started off, quick. He hit Braun as he was on his way in with the door of the cage, and Braun showed his toughness by pretty much brushing it off, throwing him back in the cage. And when that bell rang, Grayson used every trick he had to try and keep him down. He even tied him in the ropes at one point and hit him a few times. And that's when it looked like Braun started to get angry. These two are a product of the work they've put in. They've obviously worked together a lot. They were very comfortable with each other. Both guys, Braun, I was unhappy when he beat Tommaso Ciampa a long time ago for that title. But he's shown that he's really coming into his own, and he can be a future superstar. I mean, he's all brawn, and man, can he move in that ring. For a guy his size, he's pretty athletic too. So all in all, an excellent night. Really, really excellent night. You know, I have to say, North American NXT Women's and the Men's Championship all stay together with the original owner, and you have to both tag teams championships switch hands. It's just kind of interesting. I thought they might move the North American Championship onto Dijak and move Wesley up to the main roster, but I guess they're going to hold off on that for a little bit. But I would expect you're going to see Wesley up on the main roster. I would say sooner rather than later. If I had to guess, you'll probably see the same with Grayson Waller and probably Braun Breaker at some time within the next few months, maybe sooner. We always have a lot of call ups and a lot of guys that move back down just to keep things fresh right after WrestleMania. Night after WrestleMania, that Raw is always interesting. I honestly believe you're going to see a decent amount of switching this year. I think they need to freshen things up. And Triple H is he's a smart man. He knows that things are getting not necessarily stale, but some guys have outstayed their welcome. Some guys just need to freshen up their characters, and some guys just need to change the scenery. That's just the way it works. NXT Tuesday should be very fun. You have Toxic Attraction, who you're gonna see what happens with them, and you're also gonna see, if I had to guess, Carmelo Hayes come out and cut a promo on Braun Breaker. So it should be pretty fun. But that's all for now. I wanted to make sure I got this out because we had a little bit of a family emergency this week, so it's coming out a little bit late. And I will get back to you soon. I'm going to do NXT from Tuesday night and put it out later on today. All of you, I love you. Thank you so much for coming to see me. I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. Hopefully, you subscribe, and I see you again later on. You have a blessed day. Talk to you soon. Later.